Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next installment of the monthly asset class and manager spotlight. My name is Mike Horwath. I'm the Chief Investment Officer here at Diversified. As you're probably already seeing, we're going to do something a little different today, where we're going to interview somebody who's very important to our team. And when I say team, the investment committee, but also to the firm Diversified. So I'm joined today by Rosenzweig, who is a director here at Diversified, and he's personally he's a member of our investment committee, which is really important. So as a little background, Irv's financial services career spans over 30 years, the last 17 of which were spent as part of his own firm. So he owned and ran his own firm. And as part of that, he worked intimately with his clients over the years, not only on the financial planning side, but also on the wealth management side, especially. So it was a natural fit that when our firms merged, Irv found a home on the investment committee. We're very lucky and very happy that he's part of our team. So I asked him to join me today because I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to focus on an area that Irv's very specialized in, that he's looked at for a long time, that he has a lot of insights on. And he's really provided a lot of guidance to our committee and to me, myself, personally. And that area is thematic investing. So Irv, I appreciate you joining us today.
My pleasure, Mike, and always a pleasure to be a member of the investment committee with our big and growing firm.
I appreciate it. So I really want to start high level. I want to start high level because I think it's important that people understand and they hear some of your background and some of your experience. So I want to start with your experience in financial services and really running a very successful asset management firm and financial planning firm. How is your view on the investment landscape from philosophy to the underlying security selection? How has that changed over the last decade plus of experience?
Sure. Thanks, Mike. Well, I started in 1986, and within the first year, I experienced Black Monday. And that occurred in October of 1987. And all of the world markets declined by more than 20% that year. So I'm going to call that trial by fire. The event taught me how humiliating or humbling, I should say, the market can be, and the responsibilities to clients that we have as investment managers and financial planners. So if I wasn't serious before, which I was, it definitely made me that much more attuned to what we need to do on behalf of the clients. And what I see today is it's almost as if the fundamentals of investment management have gone out the window. You know, they're taking a backseat to more topical events, and that's actually accelerated now. I mean, we're going to talk about theme or thematic stocks, and really what's been happening of late have been more the meme stocks, the stocks that are touted up by social media and things like that. I don't want to get into that today, but what we're seeing now, and maybe that's starting to diminish a little bit with the meme stocks, but what we've been seeing for more than a decade has been the driver to the market being Fed policy. And what we're hearing more than anything, even when you see analysts on CNBC and things like that, is sort of like the battle cry, don't fight the Fed. So relative to fundamentals and the things that Warren Buffett did and things that Benjamin Graham did before Warren Buffett and the diehard value investors, we're not seeing that. And what's as a result of not fighting the Fed and the easy money, what you're seeing are a couple things that are pretty unique. The first thing is the dominance of growth stocks over value stocks. It used to be before that you'd show a chart of growth and value, and they'd be mirror images of each other. When growth was up, value was down. When value was up, growth was down. And that was great because you'd want that influence on each other relative to portfolio diversification. That's not happening. Growth has dominated. That's starting to rattle a little bit. And I'm not going to call it the return to value. I'm going to call it more reopening trades, where now, past COVID, people are shopping more, they're traveling more. Those industries happen to be value. So I think we're catching it on the value side. The other thing that we're seeing, which is what we're talking about today, is really the emergence of thematic investing. Relative to Again, easy money. And it's like, okay, well, you can now vote your preference and you can narrow how you vote. Whereas before it was large cap growth or large cap value. Now you can go within the specific industries, within growth, within value, and invest themes.
Yeah, very helpful. So thank you. And let's stick on thematic investing. So let's kind of segue into that and the idea behind thematic investing in these mega trends or ideas that are going to pay off in the future. So can you kind of start where you began with thematic investing and how you began thinking about it kind of in the construct of an entire portfolio and how to use it in the construct of an entire portfolio?
Sure. Okay. So we talked about my first nightmare, which was Black Monday, which was like 8 months into the business, and you've got a world crisis. The second nightmare would be the dot-com bubble or melting down the tech sector and then the market as a whole. And really, if you think about it, that might be the first incident of thematic investing. That was investing dot-com companies. And it didn't matter if the company had walls or if it had employees, it was a dot-com, and somebody's hairdresser told them to buy it. And back then it was before we were registered investment advisors, and if they had the suitability to invest, you as a broker were obligated to make purchases for them. So we were buying things that shouldn't have been bought. And what we saw, again, so I'm going to call that the first incident of thematic investing. And really through that, I could easily see it's like, okay, well, you've got the market and everybody talks about the market, but what's driving the market? It's very specific industries within the market that drive the market. In this case, it was a dot-com bubble or technology that killed the market. And then we had this again in 2008, 2009, where there was overcrowding or overbought and overweight positions in financial and brokerage stocks. And then we had the meltdown of the financial crisis. So it didn't take a rocket scientist to figure that, okay, if you've got specific industries that can kill the market, you could probably have specific industries that will drive the market. And by incorporating these certain themes or industries within a portfolio, within an overall asset allocation, you can enhance returns through thematic investing.
Perfect. And well, let's think about this in the last few years. So over the last few years, you've had a lot of experience and you've implemented a lot of these different ideas and themes. So let's talk about those. What are some of the major themes that you've utilized? And really, let's look even into the future. What are some areas that you see as emerging in the near future as ideas and major themes for investors?
So what's kind of cool about this is that I've been asked to speak up in Times Square a few times. I've been interviewed on the NASDAQ market side, and I've had great guests with me. I had guests in social governance, so ESG, and socially conscious type of funds. I had guests that were talking about tokens relative to cryptocurrency before anybody knew about tokens. So we've already presented some of this, and I learned from the best in situations like that. But at the end of the day, I think it's a function of common sense. And I would say that if you think about the theme of Internet of Things, which is several years old now and still growing within our daily lives, you abbreviate Internet of Things, IoT. So IoT is dependent on semiconductors, transmission of data, and connectivity. So we're hearing a lot about 5G right now and the new phones that are coming along with that. So it's a big theme. It can start with semiconductors. So what's going to process the data? And then it can go through, the hardware, like the new iPhone or the new Galaxy phone or whatever that is. And then it talks about the transmission of data and storage of data. So it's a huge theme that is probably only going to grow. So you think companies like Intel, Cisco, NVIDIA, and others that contribute to the theme and how they profited and benefited the investors. One of the more recent themes that we've seen, it was really thrust upon us, was work from home. I mean, nobody, I mean, that was a luxury. Now it became, something that we all had to do last year. And you think about the certain companies that remain in that will remain in our daily lives forever. Others may not. They're not going to be as profitable. They may be more of a faddish. And what we're seeing here is that this event-driven theme takes a much nimbler approach to investing and choosing the stocks that are going to stay with us potentially within our daily lives. The market itself is still trying to figure that out. I mean, we're on Zoom right now, so Zoom is probably within our daily lives. People in Peloton, well, maybe they're going back to the gyms. I mean, I do the martial arts, so I can tell you right now, we've got a lot of people that come to martial arts. So they may be the Pelotons may be what my exercise equipment is being used for. They're probably hanging clothes from it, which is what I do with my stuff. But the other emerging themes, would be like clean energy, cannabis, the cryptocurrency infrastructure, which would be like blockchain, the initial crypto, Bitcoin, going back to COVID again, biotech, gene therapy, things of that nature, and how quickly we were able to come up with a vaccine. Socially conscious theme that I mentioned as well, which is taking on more prominence in light of the focus on gender and racial equality, as well as the environmental concerns. Look at the fires and the floods that we've had over the last year. We either really ticked off God or there's something going on with the climate. It's one or the other, I think. And then, just to summarize that, I mean, this is a very often quoted, Wayne Gretzky quote, but he said, "I skate to where the puck is going, not where it's been." So you could be really early when it comes to thematic investing. I thought, okay, so we've got Biden, so cannabis might be prominent, clean energy might be prominent. It's weird. They actually did better last year under Trump than they did under this year of Biden. So you don't know, and to a degree you can make an educated guess or educated bet, but you may be early on some of these themes, and you just have to think about them a lot. Are they still viable, and is this where I want to be for now?
Yeah, makes sense. I think that ties into how we constantly remind investors you have to be forward looking, right? The market doesn't necessarily care what happened last year. It matters what's going to happen moving forward. Thematic investing is very much focused around how we can figure out where the markets are going, figure out where opportunities are, figure out where growth is going to occur, and allocating our capital there. And to your point, sometimes you have to be a little bit more patient. And sometimes it just feels like you may be a little early. So that's a good point. And really, the last thing I'd like to bring up, you shared a lot of experience that you've had, where you've focused, where you've looked, major themes that we should focus on. I'd be kind of curious to hear the lessons you've learned. You shared some hard ones in 87 and 99 through 2001, but really the lessons you've learned from investing in various themes or trends over the years. Could you share some thoughts on those?
Sure, and we're seeing it probably at a boiling point now. I mean, the first thing is temper the spirit of greed and the emotion of fear. Fundamentals to a degree play a role. I get the fact that there's easy Fed policy and easy money, but that doesn't magically turn a non-profitable company into a profitable, or a profitable industry into a profitable one. I mean, really, if you're opportunistic, you want to take advantage of other people's greed and fear emotions, creating excesses one way or the other, creating either a buying opportunity or looking at things that should be sold. So if you're really good at this, you want to leverage the mistakes that other people are making, and they're making those mistakes more often than not through greed and fear. The other thing I want to talk about relative to thematic investing, you can think these themes, but in my opinion, not so narrow that it's akin to betting on one number in roulette. So, because that could really be a fad, and that could go out of the way very quickly. I mean, if you're thinking very specifically relative to one area of technology, whether it relates to clean energy or fuel cells, if that technology is new and there's other technologies that are right around that, you don't know what's going to be the dominant technology. And you could invest clean energy as a theme, but betting on one company or one thing, especially now. I mean, Tesla is a great company, but you look at all the commitment that these big automobile manufacturers have made to electric vehicles. I mean, GM's going to go all electric. Ford's got an F-150 that you can use as a generator for your home. I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff coming out there. Tesla may not continue to be the dominant company. So I'm advising people not to go so narrow. The other thing, when considering broader themes, think about it in relationship to reality. Okay, so we've got an aging demographic. We've got, I'll call it climate change. I know a lot of people may not want to call it climate change. You've got internet security issues. You've got social equality that people are seeking. So you can look at these broader themes and vote your heart too. Vote or invest your heart. So it doesn't have to be all about the money. It could be all about where your mindset is and what you enjoy doing. Because at the end of the day, it shouldn't all be work. It should be enjoyment as well. So again, I like to look at things that are, investments that are becoming necessary to our current economy and likely to play a more dominant role in the future. And you can expand that to themes like medical devices, semiconductors that we talked about before, infrastructure, the clean energy, the socially conscious, cybersecurity, all have a place in progressive portfolios.
Well said. Yeah, thank you, Irv. I think you can see there's a lot going on in this space. I think there's a lot of really interesting ideas. And that's the whole idea behind thematic investing, is it's kind of putting your money into these mega trends or big ideas that, they just make sense. They're where the world's going. Is trying to identify what has staying power, as you said. You just never know, but I think we've done a pretty good job of finding ones that we think will stay for some time here. But I appreciate all the detailed responses. I hope everyone found this very helpful, because I think this is something new for a lot of investors, to think about investing thematically rather than picking and choosing a single company or a specific sector or a specific geographic region. The idea behind investing in these trends or these ideas. So I really appreciate you stepping in here and helping us out and helping us think about it in a different way. If anybody on the video, as you're listening, if you ever have any more detailed questions, we always encourage you to reach out. We're always happy to discuss this in more detail. But Irv, we appreciate the time. We appreciate everybody who listened in. Thank you for dedicating your time. For myself, Irv, and everybody here at Diversified, thank you for your trust over the years. We don't take it lightly. We take it very seriously, and we care a lot about you. So for everybody here at Diversified, please stay healthy, stay wealthy, stay happy. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.